And we're back. Episode 2 on my journey to get the Questcape in OSRS. And what better place to start than the Witch's House quest? If you remember correctly, in the last episode I got one tapped by a fire giant. And let's just say I didn't want that to happen again. Making sure that my HP was high enough not to get one shot by pretty much most mobs that I'd encounter up until the late endgame quests. Just as a quick editor's side note for this episode as well, as you can see, the RuneLite plugin for the quest is still on the side of my screen. Throughout this episode, that will still be there, unfortunately, as I was still getting used to the framing of the scenes while recording these clips. But hopefully and definitely in the next episodes, it won't be as prevalent. I tried to safe these experiments using magic initially, but I realized that I couldn't actually do it because the mobs are too small and would get through the crack, up until the bear. The bear I was able to safe spot because it was 2 tiles big and worked the trait. Same with this doggy over here.
Oh, hi doggy.
As soon as I saw that he was 2 tiles big, you better believe I started fire blasting. Yeah, and I'd like to give a quick shout out to my friend Jims, by the way, for almost blowing my cover while I was trying to run away from the witch during this quest. And with this quest completed, my health was now higher than ever. 25 hit points, no longer able to be one-tapped by the most measliest of creatures. But before we can move on to our next quest, I had the brilliant idea to start cooking red berry pies instead of buying them from the Grand Exchange, because it was a lot cheaper to do it this way. And as you can see, I went through multiple hoops just to be able to make myself some red berry pies. I had to get the pie dishes from the castle, I had to get the water from the fountain, I did buy the pot of flour because that would have just took way too long. But this whole process took me, I'd say, at least 20 minutes. Where it should have probably only took me a few minutes if I had just bought it and made the money another way. But hey, at least we got some nice cooking experience out of it. And the extra pies that I didn't burn, I was able to sell for a bit of gold as well.
Extreme! Parkour! Parkour! Bruh.
After the onslaught that was agility training, I ran into some dude at the Drano Bank who started throwing dueling cards at me, and that reminded me of something.
It's time to do.
What a pleasant surprise that was. Out of all the games where I would see dueling cards, I didn't think I'd see it in OSRS. Maybe RuneScape 3, but not in this one. Shortly after, decided to get my defense up a little bit just so I can acquire a new drip. Walking around in robes wasn't quite going to defend me from some more dangerous foes. So by getting my defense up to 10, I was able to acquire some black armor. As we know, black don't crack. And before we get too far into this video, and before I do forget, I just want to say, agility sucks. It's by far my least favorite skill to level up. I mean, I get that it increases my energy regeneration, but goddamn is it boring. And if there was a better way to do it, a quicker way to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. For all you OSRS quest enjoyers out there,
Interest ya on a pint?
who still haven't completed all the quests in OSRS, I'd encourage you to take it slow and smell the flowers. If you interact with these NPCs and really read what they're saying, you'll come to find out that they're actually quite interesting characters with their own real life problems. Take Harold for example, a blind alcoholic and a rampant gambler. And while I don't want to be the enabler in this situation, I have to do it to him. If you also have a crippling gambling addiction, please heed the following advice.
Do not get it twisted, do not gamble, do not start. Gambling is entertainment and entertainment only. You won't break even, you won't win, You won't do any of that. You understand? You will only go into debt and ruin your fucking life. I do this because I fucking love it. I do it all the time. It's entertainment for people who can afford it. And that's it. You will lose. I'm losing. Do you understand? I am down millions.
And as they say, the house always wins. I had to take a small loan from my friend over here just to continue with this quest.
I'm rich, bitch!
And with that extra 2000 GP, I was able to hose Harold for everything he owns. I swiftly returned my friend's gold with the extra 100 gold tip, because say what you will, but I always pay my debts. The interior design of Saba's cave over here got me thinking about the perfect RuneScape gamer setup. I thought that this guy's setup was actually pretty decent. The only thing he was really missing was a computer, a laptop, or even a phone to play RuneScape on. If he had those things, his cave would have the best setup in Gielinor. I couldn't resist. What can I say? I see a coop of chickens and I just gotta slaughter them all. It's just natural. I mean, I did it for endless amount of hours back in the day, so I just had to do it again. I needed to kill those chickens. I didn't even loot their bodies. Like, what a damn waste. But man, it felt good. To kill them now with a rune scimitar, oh man, I felt real strong. And with another quest down, it was time to do something a little bit different. It was time to start my fire making. As it currently stands, my fire making level was pretty low. So I decided to get my fire making up to 30 so I can start another quest by the name of the Sea Slug. And with level 30 fire making, that's exactly what I did.
Here's Johnny!
Up until this point with my quests, I had quite religiously followed the Optimal Quest Guide plugin. But my friend gave me the idea of completing the Sea Slug quest at this point in time so that I could boost up my fishing level from 3 to about mid-20s. And that would give me something to do while I was editing these RuneScape videos. Instead of wasting that time not gaining any experience, I could AFK fish at Barbarian Village. I'm no workplace supervisor, but using a crane to get a kid down from the docks into a little boat is only going to result in a lawsuit. So just do the right thing, and instead of using a crane, just throw him down with your bare hands. With my boosted fishing level, I can now fish at the Barbarian Village, catching both trout and salmon for that extra fishing XP gains. I also ran into the Frog Princess and gave her a little smooch so I can get a frog token for some extra froggy drip. Before I could catch my breath from the intense makeout sesh, it was straight off the boot camp. My blood was now definitely pumping throughout my whole body. And when I say my whole body, I mean my whole body. By cooking what I caught, I was also able to level up my cooking level up to 40 throughout this process. After a little while of editing, it was time to get back to questing. What better place to start than the Merlin's Crystal? Entering the room of the Round Table and accepting this quest from King Arthur, I got a little bit sus. I could see all these knights around the table, yet none of them were completing this quest. Why was it that they were waiting for some complete stranger who's probably underleveled to free Merlin from his crystal? I don't know, it's just something to think about. I thought knights had way more honor than this. As soon as I entered this castle, before even offering me a cup of tea or hitting my shoes off, these knights just started attacking me out of nowhere. If I was going to get some respect from these knights, I had to beat up the biggest kid on the block. Prison rules. So I thought, what better person than smacking out Sir Mordred. And just before I could land the killing blow, in comes Sir Mordred's mother, Morgan Le Fay, to stop me from killing her son and earning the respect from the Black Knights. But I thought if this knight needs his mum to protect him, maybe I didn't want to earn the respect of them anyway. Nothing personal, kid. Hey yo, Lady of the Lake be looking mighty fine. I don't really have a thing for girls with white hair, but it's never too late to start, am I right? Even if the Lady of the Lake had sent me to the other ends of Gillinor to gather some broken glass from a pile of sand, at this point I'd do it. But thankfully, all I had to do was help out a beggar and acquire the Excalibur. With my new Excalibur in hand, I was really looking forward to shedding some blood. But unfortunately, this quest had other plans. Instead of slaying a demon, ghost, or goblin through the might of the sword, I had to use the might of the spoken word to get the ghost of Thrantax the Mighty to free my friend Merlin from the crystal in which he was bound. With Merlin free from the crystal, my quest was now completed. And hey, I got to keep the Excalibur as well. But before I could leave the quest room, I thought I'd talk to King Arthur one more time to commence his namesake quest, the Holy Grail. After being forced to strip down and disarm myself, I had made it to Entrana, the Isle of the Monks. With my newfound information in hand, I decided to put my armor back on because I started to feel a little bit naked without it. After all, how was I going to defeat the Black Knight Titan if I wasn't wearing any armor or weapons? A few moments later, I found myself face to face with the Black Knight Titan. I observed as another adventurer tried to kill him in a curious way, and I remembered my lesson about flinching. So I decided to hop worlds and try it for myself. Initially, I tried to mage him down from afar, not having to go ahead with the flinching strategy. But I soon realized that he was resisting almost every single hit that I was throwing at him, and when my hits were going through, they weren't doing so much damage. I had to take another approach. I decided that maybe the flinching strategy was the best idea. And as you can see, I was having more success with this. His health was dropping quicker, but not too quick. And then I had the brilliant idea of using both the flinching strategy and using magic in between during the downtime. And I'll tell you right now, this was the dumbest idea I ever had, because I accidentally clicked the Falador teleport tab that was located right next to my fire staff in my inventory, forcing me to teleport back to Falador and restart my progress with this quest all over again. Baffled by my own stupidity, I was able to recover myself after about 30 minutes and muster the strength to attempt the Black Knight Titan once more. I definitely learned my lesson. It was time to go back to the flinching strategy. But I couldn't just sit still and just use flinching alone. I thought using prayer flicking in between would also help as well. And it definitely did. It made things a little bit quicker, but a lot more involved in terms of obviously doing the process itself.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch.
With the Black Knight Titan now out of my way, I could continue with the Holy Grail questline. I picked up and rang the bell located outside the Fisher King's castle to announce my arrival, as any good guest should do when they arrive at someone's house for the first time. And I soon found myself in an audience with the king himself. This time I purposefully used a teleport tab to return to Camelot and speak to King Arthur. I also did some inventory management to relocate where my teleport tabs were placed, as to avoid clicking them unnecessarily.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way.
Sometimes the advice you get from your friends isn't necessarily the best advice. I got baited by my mates into clicking on that wine of Zamrock, only to get absolutely ass blasted by all those Zamrock mages. So next time your friends give you some advice, maybe take it with a grain of salt. With the Holy Grail now in my possession, I return to King Arthur to receive my quest rewards. A massive increase in prayer and defense experience, but most of all, the respect of the Knights of the Round Table. Now that I was a proxy member of the Knights of the Round Table, it was time to go uphold the law in other areas of Gielinor. What better way to uphold the law than solving a murder mystery? I questioned every single person in this household, only to get my suspicions on one particular person. Just by the way of her face, you could tell that she was guilty. I handed in all the evidence to the guard and made a compelling case against Carol. And I didn't really know if she was guilty or not. I mean, I was just following the quest guide plugin. For all I know, I might have convicted the wrong person. Oh well. With our massive defense gains upon the completion of the Holy Grail quest, I thought maybe I should buy myself some trimmed adamant armor. Unable to find any in stock for a good price, I settled with normal adamant instead. I tried to wear the adamant helmet as well, but I thought maybe the fez is more my style, so I kept that on. If you enjoyed this episode, maybe leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't, maybe do it anyway. See you next time.